the flashlight, the Microswap tactical flashlight. Now, I got this for the incredible low price at Martin's. You bought it when you saw it at Martin's, $4.99. These I checked on the internet, and at least this brand appears to sell for, like $7.99 or something like that. So, but there's some history behind this, which I thought we'd talk about. First, let's turn it on. So you get with it the battery. Okay. One of the best things about this flashlight is that it takes a AA. A AA has significantly more power in it than the AAAs. Okay, and you unscrew the back. You put the battery in, and you close it back up. Oh my goodness, it's alive already. So, let's talk a little bit about the history. This type of flashlight, they're made in China. And, this style's been around a little while. Originally, they came from China. They're still coming from China, but the earlier models had only one light setting. And you could get the whole thing with shipping for like $3.50 from China. So that tells you how cheap they are. If you could get something from the other side of the world delivered to your house for $3.50, it might be an inexpensive product. So this one's kind of evolved from that. So what does this one have that the other one didn't have? Well, some of them didn't have the focusing. Okay, the focusing. Let's see. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it up on the ceiling. You can see that, right? Oh, push down, push up, push down, push up. So it can spot, or it can be a wider beam. Now, some of the original ones, the idea, the glitz idea was, these are bright, 300 lumens. Oh my goodness. And the early ones were built so poor that some of them would melt if you left them on too long. They'd actually heat up too much, and they would melt. And, I'm sure that was improper design. I don't think all the heat was generated by the LEDs. There was just something off on it. So what's happened with this version now is we have a 3-position switch. We have a flash, we have a bright, and we have a dim. Now on this, it looks like it's fluttering because of that's on the video, but you don't see that in real life. That's kind of an interference pattern caused by the fact that the refresh rate and all these different things. But let's again, we've got the big flash, the strobe, which, gee, that's very, very useful. If you actually were stuck in your car or something like that, sticking this on your dashboard could be very beneficial. And plus, it doesn't have the runtime, doesn't say anyway, a runtime for it blinking, but it does say that it has a maximum life of 5 hours, I believe, yeah. And that, it could be the flashing, but I would assume it would be on the lower light level. Lower. Flash. Higher. So what else can you say about it? It has this little clip. You can clip it on something. I can see that you could, in a little bit of an emergency, you could, attach it to your clothing somewhere, turn it on, and then walk if you've got it, it's pointed down enough, or see what you're doing. I've seen some people do something with these flashlights where, because it has that band, somehow attaching it to your hat or a band around your head or whatever. There are some options. Now, what's interesting too about this one, this is called Farpoint Farpoint, sorry, not Fairpoint, that's a phone company, used to be a phone company anyway, uh, uh, is that it claims to be weatherproof, not waterproof, weatherproof. So the idea here is you can get this thing kind of wet, take it out in the rain, and it's not going to die immediately. I thought I saw in the battery compartment, yeah, if you can see that little black ring, it's got a gasket. So gasket tends to keep moisture out. But of course, you know, this whole sliding mechanism, that ensures ways that water could get in and, you know, spoil the electronics. So weather resistant, yeah, be careful. Now, it's funny too, I guess, there was a video about this, the company who make it, say how wonderful this flashlight is. And, oh, this is really 300 lumens. We've tested and everything. And he says, oh, and it's got this little neat thing to protect the lens on the thing. And it's like, no. I was surprised that supposedly, you know, they're the importers. They didn't make it, I'm sure. But someone not recognizing why is this like this? Well, it's like that so they can kind of, you know, come up with this tactical label, okay? Not that this is very tactical, but these rough edges around the flashlight are for you to use as a weapon, to strike something, strike someone, and, you know, these could be considered more decorations than actual, but you will find on ruggeder flashlights that this ring here could do some damage on something. And so that talks to the idea that this could be used, you know, supposedly as a weapon. It could be used to inflict harm on an individual. And so that's what makes it tactical. I think, you know, people love to, and it says Microswap too. That's a little, yeah, I can see a SWAT team member saying, you know, going, you know, up with, oh, he's got his gun, he's attached to his gun or something, or his, you know, whatever. And I don't think he'd be carrying around a $7 flashlight like this. And, you know, flashlights are something that you could find a flashlight about this size. That's like $250. I mean, there's all kinds of different purposes for flashlights. There's all kinds of different quality, all kinds of different battery schemes, light schemes, as far as, you know, how many lumens, or, you know, what, you know, maybe one with ultraviolet light, maybe one with infrared light that you can't even see. But anyway, usually when you use the term tactical, it has to be something that would be used in the military to complete something they're doing. Now, like I say, it usually has something to do with some gear. I mean, if you, spoons that military people use in the mess hall wouldn't be considered tactical spoons, even though they're, you know, they're being used and necessary by the services. It's usually something that is going to be out with them and can have a purpose, usually way more rugged than something like this, and much more sturdy, more waterproof, all of these different things, but again, would have some type of idea that in a pinch, it could serve also as a blunt instrument, basically. And by putting this on it, it isn't that blunt an instrument. All of a sudden, you get some edges on this. So there we go. And like I say, these now, looking at it, at least in this packaging, it looks like you can find them pretty much for like $7. I get this for $4.99, and like I say, Martin's is our surplus and salvage store, so they go and buy these things that are extra, or maybe there's some damage in a store and they sell stuff, or they go out of business, whatever, and they buy the stuff, they mark it down and sell it. But of course, they're marking it up from what they bought it for. But chance that, you know, usually it's going to be, you figure $5 instead of $7.99. So, I mean, that's $3 savings a piece. So, they have good prices at Martin's. But I just think it's kind of amusing. Oh, they've got the back end like that too. But normally, you don't want that on the back end because, and you see this problem with people who say, oh, a tactical pen. Well, if a tactical pen has anything, you'd be holding it like this. Do I have a regular pen? Yeah, I've got a regular pen. Okay. The idea, again, with a tactical pen would, yes, it's rugged. You can do a lot of things with it. But the idea would be you could use it as a weapon. And a lot of, this is just a write in the rain pen, which I could use today. A lot of them have a sharp end on the back of the pen. So it's like you can't even put your thumb there because you can't apply pressure. So you're limited to this idea of using the pen like this. And of course, what can happen? The pen can slip. The amount of force you can deliver is greatly reduced because it's got something sharp on the end and you don't want to end up be the one that's injured. But so even with this kind of, it's got those scallop type edges, which kind of defeat the whole purpose of it being somewhat tactical. So they've untactilized. Yeah, that's right. So anyway, it's just a regular cheap flashlight, AA battery, 5 hours on the low setting, which I think is good. Having the flash, the strobe, I think is a good idea too. Now, some flashlights, maybe I'll have to take this and time it or something, but sometimes when you go to flashing, the actual amount of time that it'll keep flashing is dramatically longer than the other modes because there's not that much energy being used in each flash. If you have, say you have a minute of flashes versus a minute of steady on uses a lot more electricity, but the flashing is a lot more noticeable to people. And because then it doesn't matter as much about the color of the light or whatever. It's just you see that flashing happening and that isn't a pattern that's, this regular interval flashing isn't a pattern that we see in nature. So it's some kind of signal or whatever. So anyway, there we go. I don't know if it says anything about guarantees or anything, which of course we probably wouldn't have if we bought it from there. Choking hazard. Of course, it's got some chemicals in it that California doesn't like. California doesn't like anything. Have you noticed that? Everything you buy now says, this could cause this is dangerous to California. So, just don't live in California. You'll be fine. But it's always fun when you get a product like this. You get your barcode reader, you hit that, and then it brings you to the product. Sometimes it's just a sterile listing of the specs or something like that. But often you could search the web and it will bring you right up to sites that are selling the specific item. And so there it is. I think this is still a nice little flashlight to have, to use, whatever. I wouldn't be, going on a SWAT team with it. Not that I would go on a SWAT team at all, but if I did, I think I'd at least want. They have some smaller flashlights like this that are around $60, and they start getting really good at that price. But the advantage to this one, I think, too, is it's got one AA. So this means you could carry a few AA's with you. They could be rechargeable if you're into rechargeable, or the idea you can stop just about anywhere that has batteries and get batteries and use it again. One of the problems sometimes with having a flashlight that is only rechargeable is basically after it runs out, your flashlight is dead for a while. You just got to plug it in and wait so many hours before it charges up again, unless you have rechargeable batteries and you could put them in. And you can get rechargeable AA batteries, so you could still do it rechargeable and still have the option of buying disposable batteries. And I think that's a good compromise, because if you're going to be out, you may not have a place to charge it. Yeah, you can have a car charger and things like that, but it would be nice to have something like this. And then again, if you're actually putting it in a kit, emergency kit in the car or something, you could get a package of lithium AA batteries. They have 10-year shelf life normally, and you could leave the battery out and test it first with a regular battery, make sure your flashlight works and everything. But then you could store it with a package of those, put it right in your little emergency car kit or whatever, your bag that you take hiking or whatever. But you could have it there as a backup in case you do need a light and whatever else you use as your primary light may not work. So I think at this price, and buying a few of the lithium batteries would make a good little item to keep with any little emergency kit you might have. Let me know what you think. Bloop, bloop.